Hello and welcome to the Anderson-Negele Partner Portal training. You can find the Partner Portal access by going to the andersonnegele.com/US homepage and clicking Login and then Partners Login. Enter your username and password in this box here and click Login. If you don't have a username and password and you're looking to get access, please click here to submit your request. Fill out the information and submit that to us. We will provide you with an access password and authorization once your request is reviewed. Once you're logged into the page, there are a number of different menus that you can choose from. Along the top, Home, Orders and Product Information, Repairs and Documents are also duplicated on the left side, with each section broken out. You can navigate to any of these through either area, whichever is most convenient as you're going through the pages. Before starting, it's a great idea to take a look at the distributor blog to see if there's any important notices that have come up regarding products, deliveries, or other information important to channel partners. Once you're caught up on the information in the distributor blog, you can move on to the next section that you want to work in. Today, we're going to start off by working in the orders and product information page. So within there are a number of different selections. We're going to skip first to the product configurator section, as that is what most people are here to do. Once you click on product configurator, you've got a number of different options to choose from. But the main two that you're going to look at are configuring a new sensor or pricing a sensor with a part number that you already have. So let's start with configuring a new sensor. To configure a new sensor or spare part, we start by clicking I need to configure a new sensor or spare part. That will open a window where you can choose a number of different items individually under each individual category. Today we're going to do the FH standard DTG digital temperature gauge under the temperature section. Once you're in here, you'll find that you have a number of different drop downs to choose the different options that you would want on the digital temperature gauge. One of the questions that comes up is, what is the insertion length, or what is the standard insertion length? So as you see, there's a number of different choices to choose from. So if you're in question as to what might be the standard, if it's not noted on here, which sometimes it will be when you look at a different drop down, in this case it shows standard, sometimes it isn't. And in this case, on the insertion length, it does not show the standard. The easiest way to figure that out is to actually go back to the main Anderson page and go to that product on the main page. This is another way for you to find the information. Clicking on temperature sensors and going to the FH where we can hit view product. Once you're on that page, then you can hit configure sensor. That will take you down the page a bit, but one of the things I want to point out here is it will tell you in this case what the standard insertion length is. By having that shown there, it shows you that the standard length in this case is 1 1/4 inches. If you change settings, that will also change what the standard insertion length is. So for instance, changing to a 2-inch tri-clamp fitting now puts the standard insertion length at 3.5 inches. This is an easy way for you to figure out that information if you don't know what it is off the top of your head. The other benefit you have by being on this page through the standard Anderson site and not the partner portal is that you have the ability to grab the part number in complete setup. Another benefit you have by using the standard Anderson page is you can configure the sensor right on this page. So for instance, if I left everything here, standard thermometer, Fahrenheit for temperature, display units, bottom mounting 2-inch tri-clamp, standard insertion length, which automatically pulls the 3.5-inch insertion length, and the standard probe, I've already now generated the part number, which is right here. From here, I can take that part number and go back to the portal and insert that into the existing, I have an existing part number, and determine what that pricing would be. But for today, let's come back here to the configure the new product, and we'll put in that same information that we had. So a 2-inch tri-clamp fitting, insertion length. Oh, now you can see we have to make an adjustment here because it doesn't automatically configure for that 3.5 inches. So we'll scroll down to 3.5 inches and we will enter that. Our standard for well fittings, cable length, remote display cable length, none. We're just going to leave all those here. One thing I will show you though is when you come in here, if you do decide that you want to do a different option, it gives you automatically what the additional MSRP is for that option. So if you have a customer that's asking for that information, like, well, how much extra is it if I have it come off the back? This is a very easy way for you to determine what that additional cost would be to have it come off the back instead of the bottom, left, right, or top. But we're going to leave it at bottom. We're going to hit continue. And that will spit out the part number along with the full description as well as the MSRP price. And when you're logged in with your credentials, your discount level will automatically show up for that particular part number and will provide you with your final net cost for that part. Lead times are shown in business days, 1 to 5 units, 10-day lead time in this case, so on and so forth. But what I want to do here is point out that this part number will now match the other part number that we pulled up here. So they are the same because we configured those two the same. So just wanted to show you that comparison. The other thing you get, if you scroll down, you'll see that you get a 3D drawing with dimensions shown that you can move around and look at in different angles and be able to confirm that this is what you were looking for. You can turn it from any direction and zoom in and zoom out on it. You can generate a CAD drawing right off this page. You can also generate a PDF data sheet off of this page. So if you wanted to share that with your customer, you have the ability to do that. We're going to come back to this section in a minute as it relates to projects and how you can build a project within the partner portal. But we'll return to that in a minute. If you're done on this page, you can hit back, or you can go to any of the top sections here. So we're going to go back to Product Configurator. We're going to show how to create a price quote for an existing part number that you already have. So I'm going to use that same part number that we just did on this FH page and copy and paste that into this section here. So a couple things that I want to point out here. There's two questions. Is this a chart drive, motor, chart, pen, or other chart accessory? Yes or no. And is this a spare part? Yes or no. It's important that you understand what you're looking for in this case because it will affect the results of the query. So in this case, we know it's not a chart drive, motor, pen, chart, or other chart accessory. So we don't even have to check no in this case. That's really there to help you. If you've already checked yes and now you want to tell it no, then you would change it here. But by default, there's nothing checked here. The other thing is the spare parts side of this. If this was a spare part and you put the number in without checking yes, the query will result in a error saying that there is no part like that and to contact customer service. So if you find yourself having that problem, make sure that you are choosing the right choice under the is this a spare part question. In this case, we're going to leave them both blank and we're just going to hit go. We'll pull that part up. Again, this is the exact same part we just did. So you'll see you'll get the same exact answers or response from the system for that. I do want to touch on how to price a spare part in the system. Let's say you already have that part number. So we click on I have an existing part number. And we enter that existing part number in the system. So I'm just going to choose a part that I've already looked up in the past, in this case. But again, remember, we've got these two questions that we need to answer. And in this case, we know it's a spare part, but for the demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and just hit go without choosing anything. So if you get a message like this, before you call customer service, it may save you some time to just go back and choose yes. If, in this case, if it's a chart drive, motor, chart, pen, or other chart accessory, and then hit go, that might give you the answer you were looking for. So in this case, it is a spare part for an AV9900. It's a 12-inch chart for HTST. Obviously, you could see the part number in there is the one I entered before. Now we're showing a price and we're showing the lead time. So if you get an error like that when you're putting a spare part in, or any part, if you don't know if it's a spare part or if it's a regular sensor, try both options before you pick up the phone or send an email and then have to wait to get an answer. Sometimes it's quicker to do it this way. But let's say we go back and we say no, but we say yes for a spare part. Notice it changed from being yes here to yes here, or no here to yes here. Anytime you make that change, it's going to adjust what the system determines it to be. So in this case, if I say it's a spare part, but I didn't say it was a chart or anything like that, notice I still get the same result in this case. But sometimes it's just easier when you already know that it's a chart related product or part number to just enter that automatically. There may be a time where you don't know what that part number is for a spare part, but you have a general idea of what it is. We go back to the product configurator and we go configure a new sensor or spare part. Remember, we have these separate sections for each of the sensor areas, but below that we have a list of spare parts, which is extensive. So we know that we are looking for a 12-inch chart. This is one way that you can get that information, right? We could find a 12-inch, 12-hour range, 0 to 100. Boom, there's your part number. So now we could copy this part number from here and go back to the the product configurator, and go to the spare part, put in the part here, say it's a spare part, hit yes. Notice I didn't do chart drive, but because it's a spare part, it's still going to give us the same result. Now that we know how to price a part, let's go back to the home page and look at a couple of things that we can do with those parts. One of the things is the project builder. So if we go into project builder, we can create our own project to drop parts into. So if we do a name of portal test project for training, you can call these whatever you want. But one thing I do want to point out is whatever you put in here, anybody that is within your organization and has a login to the partner portal will have access to the projects. The convenience there is that if you are doing a project where multiple people are involved in speccing the parts and putting that together for a single quote, everybody can drop parts into that project. While it's shown as a project owner, it's not assigned only to you. So we hit create project, and now we look here, portal test project, you can see that that's in there. So if we click manage, you'll notice I don't have any parts in there right now because I haven't tied anything to it. I can update the project information by changing the description or adding more details on there, and you can put a number of things in this section. So whatever works best for you, that's what I would suggest doing. So Now that we've created the project, let's go back to our product configurator, and we're going to put that same part number in that we just did. Copying and pasting makes things go faster. Now we have that pricing. From this drop down, we can do an automatic entry to that project that we did, which is the portal test project. We can hit save configuration and continue. And now that configuration will automatically be in that project. You could continue to create additional parts or put additional parts into your project. Once you're done, you can hit return to project builder, and you come right back in here to manage that project. Now we've added one part in there, so there's not a lot to look at in this case, but there's some additional options that pop up once we've done this. So first of all, we can change a quantity. So let's say we want 4 of those. We could also put notes in here. So this could be for CIP system, right? So you can add whatever notes you want into that area. Let's say you wanted a tag to be generated. First of all, we show you what that price is right here at the top. So $12 for each stainless tag. So I'm going to choose stainless, and I'm going to put on here test tag. And we'll put 2023. You can put whatever information you want on there. Line 1 or 2. We'll change it to 1 like I originally said. That allows you to customize that tag whatever way you want. But let's say you also need a material and compliance certificate for that. You can check those right away while you're in here, get that all set up for your order. Once you've done that stuff, you hit update products, and what you'll see now is you get more detail. So I had changed this to a quantity 4, but I only did 1 tag. That tag doesn't have to be the same for all 4. So once you update that, you're going to get 4 options for tags if you want them. So let's say we don't want them on the rest of them. We'll just hit no tag in that case. You'll notice our final price is updated to cover the cost of the 4 units and the tag. So that single tag that we did there. Do that last update on there now that we've got everything set. Now we have all of our products shown, giving us the standard lead time for that quantity of units, our price each, and you're ready to go. Now that we've discussed the project portion of the portal, let's go back to the home page, and we're going to stick in this orders and product information section. If you have a PO that you want to submit and you click email PO, all that's going to do is open up an email with the address for submitting an order to Anderson-Negele. You can just attach your PO and send it out. Let's say you have an order already in-house and you're trying to get some updates on that. If you hit order tracking, it's going to take you to a page. It's going to show you the orders from the previous 90 days. If you have something further back than this, I suggest calling customer service to inquire that way. But in this case, let's say we're going to look at what is going on with a specific order for some products. What you're going to see on the right side, projected ship dates and actual ship dates. This can be a little confusing sometimes, because if you choose this one, for instance, you'll see active ship or actual ship date shows the tracking numbers for those. If you click on this one, in this case, you're going to see actual ship date shows not applicable. So one might think that nothing is shipped from that. But if you pull down this menu or this particular order, you'll see under this menu a number of different products in here. Some of these have already shipped in this case, and they show the tracking information. If you click on the tracking number, it'll take you to a pop-out window which will provide you with the tracking information for that particular shipment. However, if it has not shipped yet, it's going to show that there's a blank in the tracking number and the quantity shipped is 0. So just because you show an actual ship date, in this case, you'll see a date here. This one's showing not applicable, doesn't mean that it hasn't shipped. So the best thing to do is to actually click into the order that you're thinking about. For instance, actual ship date here, again, shows a date, 6/20. Yes, but not everything has shipped through that order, as you can see right here. So again, best way to figure it out, click in, do a drop down, and you'll see everything on there that you were looking for related to that particular order. So depending on how many you have there, it may be easier to simply type in your PO number. In this case, I'm just typing in Anderson because we've got one in here that is listed as Anderson. And that will get you your list a lot quicker, and you don't have to try to scroll through everything. Now that you know how to track an order, go back to the home page again. And again, I'm coming back to the home page here, but you can also go individually through each of these drop downs under the top header. So let's say you're looking for some pricing on a certain product. If you click price pages, it's going to give you a couple of different things. It's going to give you both brochures and the MSRP price pages for that. So this allows you, if you've got a customer that is looking for information on, for instance, the FH or temperature gauge that we were talking about earlier, you can come in here and pull both the brochure and the price page for that particular gauge. When you click on this, it's going to do a download of that page. And this is the result of that download. It will strictly be the page for the FH. And it allows you to also build a part number out the same way that we did it on the configuration page, only on paper. So what you can do is send this to your customer, and your customer can then see, okay, if I want with the optional RTD, I know that the MSRP additional for that is $129. It gives them all of the separate option pricing, makes it easy to do that. Also allows you to do it as well. One of the key features on this, though, is it shows you mounting. So if you have a question about what that looks like, this page will actually give you that information. It's a great way to get that info quickly. The other thing is you can pull the brochure up. The brochure in this case is just going to pop out as a separate window. Tells you all of the information, as well as, again, a way to build the part number should you need to do that. No pricing is shown on this page, so if you would rather send this to your customer without any MSRP pricing on that, that is an option to do that. Okay, now that we've gone through the pricing pages, we're going to scroll back up here. I'm going to go to the last section, which is product lead times in this case. So what you can do here is, if you want to try to figure out what is the standard lead time right now for a particular project, we're going to stick with that FH gauge, although we already know what it is because we've seen it as we configured the part. This is a much more condensed way of finding that information, and you can find it pretty quickly. But if you look at FH for that gauge, you can see what the lead times are that way. If you're looking for a different section, just hit back, go to any other section that you want to look into, and then you can scroll through and see. I wanted to show you on this level page, there's a couple of sections here which have no lead time in them. Does not mean they're available immediately. What I would suggest is, if you see either a blank like that or a 0 in a section, that you call customer service or email customer service to find out what that current lead time is. Usually means that something's going on with that product and we need to do that more of a live type of data driven info. One thing I want to remind people of is that this product lead time is an estimate. There are changes that happen regularly, and these are not live updated lead time days. So if you have something that has a crucial arrival date that you need to make sure it's going to be there on time, I would suggest reaching out once you place your order to make sure that that lead time can be confirmed as to what you need it to be. Okay, that completes the section on orders and product information. I'm going to click back to the home page here.